Dear Dean Professor Živančević Sekeruš, dear Vice Dean Professor Paunović, esteemed Coimbra Group representative Mr. Sartor, honored Professor Bošković Stanilić, distinguished guests, dear lecturers, professors and students, it is my great honor to greet you and welcome you at the opening ceremony of the International Summer School on European Multilingualism, organized by the Coimbra Group's Faculty of Philosophy, University of Novi Sad. With the support of the Erasmus Plus KA 107 program, AUF, BECO and Provincial Secretariat for Higher Education and Research teachers from the University of Bologna, Granada, Salamanca, Graz and Poitiers, project coordinator, in collaboration with the teachers from the University of Novi Sad, are organizing an intensive short summer school on European multilingualism and cultural mediation studies with the aim to share innovative approaches to teaching and learning languages. The Faculty of Philosophy at the University of Novi Sad is an institution with a rich educational tradition, successfully spreading knowledge and promoting excellence in the field of social sciences and humanities for more than 60 years. The Faculty of Philosophy is also a multicultural environment open towards diversity, nurturing the spirit of tolerance, so your presence here today gives us even greater pleasure. We are very proud of our Center for French Studies, that is our Center of Francophone Universities at the University of Novi Sad, which has achieved some remarkable results in working with the youth and promoting Romance languages. And now we would like to give floor to Professor Zoran Paunović, Vice Dean for Science and International Relations at the faculty. Thank you.
Good morning to everybody, dear friends, dear representatives from the Coimbra Group, dear colleagues, professors and students. I'm very glad to greet you on behalf of the Faculty of Philosophy, to wish you a warm welcome to this, as Shakespeare would say, a great feast of languages. The whole sentence reads, the great feast of languages from which they have stolen the scraps. And what you will get from this feast of languages are not the scraps, of course. You will get, I'm sure, important bits and portions of knowledge important for your further education. And I'm sure that for all of you it will be a memorable occasion. Needless to say, we are proud that this event takes place at the Faculty of Philosophy in Novi Sad, about whom you have heard something already. So this is really the proper place and proper time for something like this. Maybe not the proper climate, but it will get better, as I have heard. So once again, I wish you a warm welcome and I wish you a couple of successful and memorable days. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. We would like to give floor to Mr. Filippo Sartor, Coimbra Group representative, to welcome the participants.
Okay, well, welcome to everybody. It's a great honor to be with you today. My name is Filippo Sartor. Today I'm here to represent Coimbra Group, and now I'll briefly introduce a little bit what Coimbra Group is, because behind Coimbra Group there is part of the rationale of the summer school is going to start now. But actually I work also for the University of Bologna, and I'm the head of the unit within international relations who is dealing with many regions of the world, including Western Balkans, and this is why actually I'm here as well. So briefly, a short introduction of what Coimbra Group is, starting actually from this summer school. We all know that it's dealing with European multilingualism, and we all know that it's jointly organized by the Faculty of Philosophy here in Novi Sad and Coimbra Group. I suppose that most of you knows, all of you knows what the Faculty of Philosophy in Novi Sad here is, but maybe not all of you knows something about Coimbra Group. So, any idea what may be Coimbra Group? Just to, any idea? What do you think? How does it sound? Coimbra Group is something maybe linked to Coimbra. You know where Coimbra is? Any idea? Please, just to break the ice. Sanya, no, it's not correct. Someone else.
I'm just joking.
Well, ice is broken, so we can continue.
Okay. Actually, Coimbra is a town in the north of Portugal, and is famous for the university. It's a small town, like 50,000 inhabitants, not more, but with a very prestigious and historical universities. And actually, Coimbra is the place where in 1985, at that time, more or less 30 European universities come together to start building the Coimbra Group. It's one of the most important network of European universities, 39 European universities, that is based on European multidisciplinary, trying to involve European multidisciplinary universities of high international standard. So basically, Coimbra Group is composed by universities that, generally speaking, are not from the capital, are prestigious, with a lot of history, and are comprehensive, so try to cover as many fields of studies as possible. Is committed to creating special academic and cultural ties in order to promote internationalization, academic cooperation, excellence in learning and research, and to influence European education and research policy. So actually, Coimbra Group is one of the most important and relevant network of European universities in Europe. Some facts and figures: 39 universities from 23 European countries, more than 1,400,000 students, 7% of the student population in Europe, more than 200,000 staff, and the last one is the fact I'm more proud, the number of Erasmus students. 16% of all the Erasmus students in Europe move around Coimbra Group universities. So it's a group of universities very much committed to internationalization and to work together. And actually, in fact, one of the main one of the main issues that is treated during our meeting is exactly how to make the mobility within Europe as much effective as possible. So which are these universities? You will see universities in France, in Italy, in Germany, in Hungary, even if Sanya told me that there is not an Hungarian partner, but it seems...
Yes, Budapest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, there are some exceptions. There are three capitals here: Dublin, Budapest, Prague, and no, I think that's it.
Istanbul.
Istanbul, yeah, but we can discuss Istanbul. Is the no, I don't want to enter into this. It should be Ankara. Okay, but so Vilnius is capital. Okay, sorry. Anyway, most of them are, and those that started were not capital. And so actually 39 universities, so quite an important list. We still have UK universities. Edinburgh is not capital.
It is of Scotland.
It's not Glasgow. Okay, forget this. So let's make another joke. Which is the capital of Latvia? Good. Who say Riga? Okay, now I thought a student to give an extra point at the end of the summer school. Okay, and just underline 5 of them. Why did I underline 5 of those universities? Because actually are the universities that are involved in this summer school. In this summer school, we mentioned Coimbra Group and not the single universities, because as Coimbra Group, as the whole Coimbra Group, we decided to join Novi Sad and to work together to Novi Sad to establish first and then to implement this summer school. We put in red Poitiers because it's a sort of coordinator of European universities involved in this summer school. So 5 of them, professors of 5 of those universities are joining and will stay with you during this week in Novi Sad. Of course, together with professors of Novi Sad. And you can say logo. And there are all universities that, in a way or another, and we'll see in the last slides, are committed with Western Balkans cooperation. So briefly, the executive board, the chair of the executive board of the Coimbra group, so the big boss now is from University of Poitiers, and is Ludovic Tilly, and on behalf of him, I want also to greet you because he's very proud and he's very anxious on the results of the summer school. And then actually this is the way how we are working. We are divided in working groups. There are according to 3 main pillars. There is one pillar that is more research, so groups. When I say groups, means representatives of each university that come together, meet 2-3 times per year and develop something. And we have the research group that is mainly dealing with specific issues and topics. Then we have education, where working group are mainly dealing with innovation and all that is related to internationalization of education, including mobility. And then finally we have outreach. So outreach, the third mission of university, how the university should open to the society. And with the outreach, we have even the development cooperation unit. Actually, it's exactly the development cooperation unit, the unit that is somehow associated to the cooperation between the Coimbra Group universities and the rest of the world, that has decided, thanks to Sania, to work together with University of Novi Sad in this summer school. But this summer school is, of course, also relevant for education and innovation, and is also relevant for social science and humanities, because we are in the field of social science and the humanities. Very briefly, some recent activities of the Coimbra Group, so are mainly conferences, are mainly position papers on specific issues that have been delivered to the European Commission, for example, on the Erasmus Plus program, on the Horizon program. We did also, for example, an interesting thing that could be interesting for Western Balkan universities. Every year we organize in Dubrovnik, in Ragusa, a special event for PhD students on transversal skills for PhD students. You will see this Navigate Your Career International Training Workshop for PhD candidates. And these are just very briefly the activities we develop in this development cooperation working group, that actually is the working group that is devoted to cooperate with non-European countries in different ways. And one way, if you can see, is exactly joint planning of Coimbra Group summer schools. And this is the Myanmar, is the first summer school we have developed in the last 3 years. Together another event we have recently done in Myanmar, so completely different part of the world, more or less with the same approach. So a local university and then work together on a specific topic. So why it is so important to participate to Coimbra Group, such as to any European university network? So first of all, because it's an important stakeholder toward European Commission, especially when we are discussing mobility, for example, the funding for the Erasmus program. It's an important way to exchange good practice, close ties with some universities at different levels. It's a way to know much better the universities at many different levels, directors, at disciplinary level, colleagues of my disciplines, but also at institutional level, colleagues of specific units of universities that work together. Participation to events on relevant transversal topics, and then we have a logistic base in Brussels that is always important, especially if you have to lobby and to work with the European Commission. But why as Coimbra Group we decided to invest on a summer school, and in particular on international summer school? Why they are so important for us? Summer schools are important because we believe they are an important occasion to share best practice and introduce innovation in teaching and learning. And they're important because also they are more flexible and allowed to gather international faculty and to develop joint initiatives. Of course, summer school, comparing to regular study program, are definitely much more flexible, and they are much more adaptable to gather together professors coming from different universities, and also to introduce innovative way of teaching and learning. So that's why we believe summer school are extremely important, either for working together or for experimenting new methods and approaches. Then, of course, they are more adaptable in order to introduce new topics that sometimes are not easily covered during our normal programs during the academic year. Like, for example, European multilingualism, of course, is part of many programs, regular programs of universities, but a summer school may definitely deepen much more these issues just in a week, putting together professors from different European language tradition. And then involve both professor and student from the same institution. For example, here we have a professor from Granada, and I suppose also a student from University of Granada, if I'm not wrong. Is there a student from University of Granada? I'm wrong, actually. He was in the list.
Yeah, but maybe it's too early, you know.
Yeah.
For students, it's early.
Okay, but it's the opening. At least Monday.
It was a joke.
Support more student-centered learning approach. Again, innovation in teaching and learning. We know that when we talk about Bologna process, more student-centered approach is always something we underline, and definitely maybe during a summer school it's much easier to experiment this kind of tools and a way of participating in classing together with the students. And why it is important for Coimbra Group developing summer school with the university outside the group and outside the European Union. Because it's important for us, on one hand, to approach with a unique vision, EU vision, not European, because Novi said is definitely in Europe much more than many other. Sometimes I make a mistake because I talk about Europe instead of European Union, but there are two different concepts, especially if we stay in Novi Sad. But respecting different approaches, because it's very important, because it's a way to move to a more overarching approach to internationalization that includes all the rest of the world, not just Europe, not just US, not just Australia. And it is a very stressful now, especially at the European Union level, to give a vision of internationalization that is really global, but not global as a way to be globalist, global as a way to consider all the world and all the academic community part of this internationalization way of thinking and doing things within university. This is important because if we want to discuss key issues, we cannot do only at the European Union level, but we have to involve neighboring or other countries, especially if we are dealing with so-called global challenges and sustainable goals. It's very important to involve as much as possible all the universities of the world. For example, as Coimbra Group and the Working Group on Development Cooperation, of course, we discuss a lot on development goals and issues like climate change or issues like energy. And it's very important in this case to organize summer schools together with the professor and academic community that involve in countries where, for example, climate change is more sensitive. So we did once one in Sudan, for example. So it's very important to work with the academic community of all the world, especially if we are dealing with global challenges and issues. And why it was decided multilingualism? Of course, actually I'm not an expert of multilingualism, and all the European professors that will be with you this week are, so I'm maybe not the right person to tell why multilingualism was important, was chosen, but definitely because it's a field that is naturally associated to European dimension. Because linguistic diversity is a value in Europe. There are currently 24 EU languages and much more if we consider dialects or other sort of languages. And it's a natural occasion for the Coimbra group to work together, because we can bring the differences of our languages in a unique community. One of the slogans, the motto of European Commission is united in diversity, and definitely multilingualism is a perfect expression of this united in diversity. Just from the EU policy for multilingualism, two important issues: striving to protect Europe's rich linguistic diversity and promote language learning. These are two key issues still now for the European Commission. For example, a research of the Eurobarometer survey on Europeans and their languages revealed very positive attitudes to multilingualism in Europe. This is not academic, it's family, it's normal life. 98% say mastering foreign languages will benefit their children, so not just English. 88% think that knowing languages other than their mother tongue is very useful. 77% say improving language skills should be a policy priority. And 72% agree with the EU goal to at least 2 foreign languages for everybody, for everyone. So again, not only English, diversity, Europe. And finally, why we decided to work together with Novi Sad on this topic. And because actually, and this explanation is in Novi Sad, but generally speaking, the cooperation with Western Balkan universities. Since 1999, Coimbra Group University started to collaborate with Western Balkan institutions thanks to a special scholarship program that aimed to favoring the mobility of young Western Balkan researchers to Coimbra Group University. This program is still active, but still now academic integration and cooperation with neighboring and IPA countries, or pre-accession countries, one of the key issues of our development cooperation working group. Just some activities that we developed with Western Balkan universities in the recent year, and most of them were coordinated by University of Graz, that is an active member of Coimbra Group. We did a Tempus project Join C, where Novi Sad was present. Graz took the leadership of one of the 2 main Erasmus Mundus Section 2 programs that had been developed in the Western Balkan and existed for years. That it was called Join UC, the other was Basileus from University of Ghent. And in that Join UC, there was the core universities were part of the Coimbra group. Granada was there, Bologna was there, and many students from your universities had the chance to come to Europe, and in particular to Coimbra Group universities, thanks to University of Graz. Then, of course, we have now the Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility, and then we have still this Coimbra Group scholarship program. I just want to show, we did a census, we did the Coimbra Group on the destination of the bilateral interinstitutional agreement between our universities and universities in the rest of the world, thanks to Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility. Not all the Coimbra Group universities, 39 universities are here, more or less just half, 20. But this census showed that Novi Sad was the second university with the highest number of bilateral interinstitutional agreement with Coimbra Group universities. And that's why you have now this week Coimbra Group staff in this staff week. All of them came here thanks to the staff mobility of Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility. And that's important for the students, especially those that are enrolled in the Novi Sad programs. With those universities, of course, you can enjoy the summer school, but also apply for mobility programs under Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility organized by your International Relations Office. So Novi Sad second, but generally speaking, you will see most of the Western Balkan universities are the very top positions. So within Coimbra Group, within Europe, thanks to Erasmus Plus International Credit Mobility, we are still, when we manage to keep a lot of mobility, not now necessarily like we are doing in Europe, but not so far for what we are doing within the European Union. And thanks to the European Commission, but also thanks to the capacity of your universities to deal with the program. I have to be very honest, when we meet colleagues from your universities like Novi Sad, but generally speaking, the Western Balkan universities, the level, the competencies and the awareness on the program is extremely high. So it's much easier to work with your universities on mobility issues than anywhere else in the world. So this is the Coimbra Group website on the scholarship program, including young researchers from Western Balkans, if some of you may be interested in the future. And just some figures recently, in the last call, 25 applications from Western Balkans, 7 have been selected, 1 from Serbia. But in the recent year, we selected 3 for young researchers from Novi Sad that move for a research period in some European Coimbra Group universities. So multilingualism, empowering individuals, transforming societies. Thanks a lot, and I wish all the best for your summer school and for your commitment this week.
Thank you, Mr. Sartor. Finally, I would like to ask Professor Pavle Sekerush, Summer School Coordinator and our keynote speaker, to address you and continue with his lecture. Thank you.
Bonjour, bienvenue à notre école d'été de multilinguisme européen. Bienvenue à Novi Sad, un peu plus vieux. I'm just joking, I'm not going to speak in French. Yeah, welcome. I hope that this is just the beginning of a good cooperation with Coimbra Group, and this is not the first and the last enterprise of this kind. This is just the beginning. I'm going, as a coordinator from Novi Sad, I'm going to give you a few practical information. This year we have about 26 students for 4 groups: French, Italian, German, and Spanish. Most of them are from the French group, 16 out of them, more than half. It's probably the reason the coordinator is from the French department. Most of the professors are from the French department, so the French propaganda worked a lot in order to attract a lot of students. So thank you, it worked very well, and hope the other departments will do better next time. You have your daily programs in your bags, and for each day we decided to name a professor responsible for that day, whom you can address for any kind of questions. It works for professors from Coimbra and Novi Sad, as well as for students. So today it's me. I will be here with you the whole day. Tomorrow it will be Bojana. Bojana, you can present yourselves to the public, please. Yeah. Then on Wednesday it will be Tamara Valčić. I think so. Is it the same in your program? On Thursday it's Diana Popovic, and she can share with somebody, I think. Whom do you have in your program? And Ružica Seder. And on Friday it's Tanja Đurin. Tanja. Yeah. We have activities after school also. Today we have a kind of a joint dinner at the faculty when we finish our classes, and 5:30 we shall have a joint meal here at the faculty. On Tuesday, something for professors. Students are free. Something for our professors, though this meal on Monday is paid by the faculty, so nothing to worry about. On Tuesday, professors might be going with us in organization with Bojana Petrovic and me to make a walk around the fortress, because the fortress will be closed starting from Thursday because of the festival. So this is the only day we can do it, because on Wednesday professors have only professors have a kind of a special working dinner at the restaurant Project 72. We have also our colleague from History Department who offered 2 guided tours around Novi Sad, and if you are interested in that, please address Bojana Petrovic. I find her very responsible, so she will take care about that. So one of these is Forgotten Women of Novi Sad, and the other one is Forgotten Cafes of Novi Sad. Kafanas? Kafanas. Okay, kafanas. Whatever. So how do you understand that word kafanas in English? No way. They don't know. They don't know. The English guys don't know. Cafes. Cafe, it works better. Yeah, of course. Anyway, Thursday. On Thursday, there is a rich program also. This is the beginning of the festival. I think they start at 8 or 9 o'clock, I'm not sure. And there is another offer by Bojana Petrovic. We shall have a guest from Cuba. Cuban philosopher will give a conference in...
I will give the details later on.
What?
I will give the details later on.
Good, good. And it will be organized in Matica Srpska, a kind of scientific academy. Those who are interested in that event can address Bojana also. Bojana wave to the public, yes. And those who are interested in, I think those will be most of those who speak Spanish, because I imagine that this will be in Spanish with simultaneous translation. Yes, okay. Anyway, and on Friday, after the event, we shall have a distribution of certificates and another dinner at the faculty. That's more or less about the program. And now I will continue with my presentation entitled About Us, meaning about Faculty of Philosophy, the region, the city, the university. This slide shows you our position on the Balkans and in Central Europe. Serbia is culturally and geographically split in two. You have the region of Vojvodina, Novi Sad is capital of that region, which belongs culturally and geographically to the Central Europe, and the rest, starting from Belgrade to the south, is more or less Balkan culturally and geographically. You see surrounding countries, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria. Well, Kosovo is still a question. Is it going to be a surrounding country or another province of Serbia? Still to see. Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia. You have a Serbian flag here. We took our star, a communist star, and we replaced it with monarchistic symbols of a Serbian monarchy. From one extreme to another. Vojvodina region. The term Vojvodina in Serbian means a type of duchy. There was a duke after the 1848 named for the region of Vojvodina. It's a kind of a voivodeship. The word is etymologically connected with modern-day words soldier, vojnik, and to lead, voditi. Its original name from 1848 was the Serbian voivodeship of the region, Srpska Vojvodina, which then became Voivodeship of Serbia. When did the Serbs arrive to Vojvodina, which was a part of Austrian Empire, the territory controlled by the Austrian Empire and troubled by the very often excursions of the Turks, which at one moment arrived till Vienna. During the Great Serbian Migration, the Serbs from the Ottoman Empire settled in the Habsburg Empire in 1619. They gained the status of a recognized nation in exchange for providing a border militia in a military frontier, a territory separating Austrian and Ottoman possessions in the Balkans. meaning Austria received those Serbs coming from the Ottoman territories controlled by the Ottomans and organized a kind of a military territory, militarized territory which stretches from Romania through Vojvodina, Croatia, and goes down to the Adriatic Sea. This was a kind of a and this region was populated by the Serbs who were ready to fight for the Austrian Empire whenever they are invited. When they were not fighting, they were peasants. Gibraltar on the Danube, the Novi Sad fortress, or more precisely the Petrovaradin fortress, was part of the Austrian military installations imagined as a major obstacle for Ottoman advancement to the north. But this fortress never served against the Turks. Unfortunately, it served to destroy the city of Novi Sad during the Hungarian Revolution in 1848. The fortress was made by Austrian architects, inspired by Vauban's military fortifications. Vauban is a French architect of Louis XIV. Serbia and Vojvodina. This is already mentioned, the year 1848, very, very important. You have a picture here of Pavle Simic presenting proclamation of Serbian Duchy or Vojvodina in Sremski Karlovci city, a small town 15 kilometers to the south from Novi Sad, which was the center of Serbian Orthodox Church in Austrian Empire. What happened? During the Hungarian Revolution in 1848, which wanted to split from Vienna, the Serbs were invited by Vienna to fight against Hungarians, and they did it. In return, they got the territorial autonomy within the Austrian Empire. This is the flag of Serbian Vojvodina, which combines Austrian and Serbian emblems. You have a two-headed eagle, Austrian two-headed eagle, and on his belly you have Serbian signs. That's it. Austrian and Ottoman Serbs. At the same time, Belgrade is a Turkish frontier town. Danube and Sava separate two empires, Ottoman and Austrian Empire, and two civilizations. Here you have an aquarelle of Karl Gebel, which shows the ruined gateway of Prince Eugène, or Prince Eugen. It was a Prince Eugène de Savoie, a nobleman from Savoy region who offered his military services to the Austrian Empire and who fought the Turks here in the region, who went to the Belgrade, who went south to Požarevac and back, and was very active in this region. What is important is the striking difference between Vojvodina. You see the population, the costumes, and on the other side you see Belgrade, very oriental. Belgrade had about 50 mosques.